Hey everyone, and welcome back to News with Sonic, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. And today I want to talk to you about something that's a little concerning, and it's regarding, of course, Spider-Man. And as you all probably already know this, Sony technically owns the rights to Spider-Man. And an interesting article came about when I was scrolling through Twitter a little earlier today, and that is that Spider-Man may fade away from the MCU amidst Marvel's overhaul. And if you've noticed, in the last few years, not since No Way Home, we haven't seen Spider-Man since. So I think Marvel's just not focusing too much on Spider-Man since we've had a huge overhaul and there's a lot of new characters that are making an appearance, and Spider-Man's just not a big focus. And that's a little concerning. And I think Sony's going to take away Spider-Man once again from Marvel. So I really hope that maybe someday Sony and Marvel can come to an agreement where they can get the rights back, because this is really getting out of hand. So I have this article here from InsideTheMagic.net, and it says here that the Spider-Man may fade away from the MCU amidst Marvel's overhaul. And here it says Spider-Man is back on track with the amazing success outside of the MCU, leaving Sony in a comfortable spot to move away from Marvel Studios. Everyone knows Spider-Man. He's the friendly superhero who always sees the best in the people around New York City. Despite having a tremendous array of villains, he never focuses on taking down his enemies, but is always trying to help and save those who need it. This hasn't been easy for Spidey, as the hero has lost good friends and family along the way, but he always gets back up. Peter Parker was originally the only Spider-Man, but others have taken the Spidey mantle and shown a different way to be Spider-Man. Recently, Miles Morales has been a great example of a black superhero making a difference in their own unique way. In the MCU, Tom Holland is the only Spider-Man so far, and his role has been pretty minimal so far. And after helping Tony Stark in the Avengers, Spider-Man has faced his own array of villains, leading to his Aunt May's death and being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Peter Parker is a great hero to work with, but he doesn't come around often in the MCU despite having such a big influence in the Marvel Comics and other mediums. For instance, Spidey has a big role in the Spider-Verse franchises, Miles Morales, but must learn what it means to be Spider-Man and doesn't want to accept that it means that his father is likely to die. And for video games, Insomniac's Spider-Man franchise focuses on Miles and Peter and how the duo saves New York from the threats such as Kraven the Hunter and Venom. For their latest sequel, Sony broke records with Spider-Man 2, selling 24 million copies in its first 24 hours, becoming the fastest selling game for Sony. People love Spider-Man and want to see where his story went, and yet Sony can fully benefit from this version of Spidey. Tom Holland's Spider-Man doesn't appear that often because Marvel Studios needs Sony's approval, and it seems like the time might be drawing near for Sony to keep Spider-Man out of the MCU except for his movies. Why? Spidey doesn't need to appear in Avengers movies or big superhero teams any longer. That's a bit of a hot take in a way. Spidey should appear in solo movies, Spidey should have street level type movies, and Spidey should have his own adventures while still remaining in the MCU. So I disagree with that. And this change has already been felt after the Avengers Endgame 2019, with Peter Parker slowly appearing in fewer projects and having a smaller role in the MCU. After introducing a slew of new superheroes, Marvel Studios won't have that much time to include Spidey in meaningful stories, leaving the superhero just to appear every couple of years and then fade away. It's not something that the fans might be ready to think about, but after Sony makes movies with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, Marvel Studios will probably lose the chance to tell more stories with Spider-Man going forward. So here's the thing. Spider-Man, at least Tom Holland's version of the character, is still going to have another few movies to go. He's got about maybe another 3 to 4 solid movies, and then a couple of them to appear in a couple of Avengers movies, and that'll be pretty much it, and somebody will take over the mantle, or there'll be a big reboot, and maybe that reboot will not involve Spider-Man in that universe, which is kind of sad. You can't really have a decent Marvel universe without the Spidey, without Spider-Man, because he's the mascot of Marvel. Spider-Man is the mascot to Marvel as Mickey Mouse is the mascot to Disney. Without him, I mean, he's the poster boy. I would argue that a lot of the times people read Marvel comics because of Spider-Man, or they like Marvel because of Spider-Man. Yes, other characters have become very popular over the years, including characters that not a lot of people know about, like Guardians of the Galaxy, for example. Spidey is the biggest character of all time right now. Every time there's a new movie featuring, Spidey, it's a total cash cow. It sells out. Like, it literally makes millions. It prints money. Sony being this way, and I would hope they would be more understanding, but it's Sony, so what can you really expect? Marvel Studios needs to find a way to get their mascot back, because this is ridiculous. I wouldn't want to live in a world where Spider-Man is not included in a Marvel universe. Still, though, at least Spider-Man belongs to the Marvel Universe in every other way besides the films. And that is, product, merchandise, of course, cartoons. That's why Marvel Studios is making a new Spider-Man animated series called Spider-Man Freshman Year. Him not being a frequent, character throughout the movies, even if he's mentioned by name, is kind of weird to me. I mean, he exists in that world and you need to get permission from Sony to use him. And it really sucks. This is quite the bold article, though, to speculate that he will just fade away when I know for a fact, at least I don't know, maybe 90% certain that Amy Pascal agrees to keep Tom Holland's Spider-Man as long as they agree to make more movies and as long as they agree to keep him showing up in Avengers projects too. And for the most part, Sony gets a bigger cut than Marvel Studios does when it comes to these movies. So they're not losing either. I wanted to know your thoughts. What are your thoughts about the possibility of Spider-Man Peter Parker fading away from the MCU? I don't know if we're going to have a chance to see Miles Morales in the MCU, even though Amy Pascal and Sony really wants that to happen. I want that to happen too. I want to see another version of Spider-Man in the MCU. It only makes sense. Peter Parker's only going to get older. Before you know it, he has a teaching job and he has a family. I don't know. We'll see where it goes from there. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Click on the bell notifications so you don't miss anything. Dislike the video if you did. And as always, I will see you all in the next comic panel.